that just brought it home for me. You know, what coaching has done for me, it's completely transformed who I am. And you guys just heard some of my back life story, and Carl shared some of my back business story. And for those of you guys that don't know, yes, all of that is true. But coaching is what transformed me as a person. I love to share that I was a challenger for 14 months, and I was the worst challenger on the planet. The worst. So don't ever give up on those people, because you never know when they're just going to come out of nowhere and crush it. I was honestly the worst. Like the person that never participated, the person that would reach out to my coach every quarter probably and be like, I'm drowning, like I can't do this, and I'm struggling, and she'd be like, get in the group, post your accountability. And I'd do it for a day or 3, and then I quit. And she kept saying, I think you should coach. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm a mess. And she kept encouraging me, because she said, Moira, I don't think you're ever going to show up for yourself until you have to show up for someone else. And I knew that about myself. I knew that I would let myself down, but I knew that I would never let you down. And so there was something, as a mess as I was, and I was struggling with the businesses that Carl was talking about, and the stress, and was just beating me down, I knew that there was just something there, some truth there, that she was talking to my heart. And I never wanted to be a coach. I never wanted to do what she does. I wanted nothing to do with this at all. I kept encouraging her. The first time I met her for coffee after a year that we knew each other, 3,000 miles away, we just met through a random person and became friends. I met her for coffee, and I brought her a piece of art that in gold lettering said, dream big. And I was like, go for it, girl, I'm so proud of you. And she's like, you should really do this. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that whole pyramid scheme thing. Never gonna happen. And she kept asking, and she kept encouraging. And at that moment, when life just came crumbling down, and I couldn't continue to borrow against my house to float a business and destroy my marriage and let my kids suffer anymore, I said yes. I said yes to this as a discount coach to save myself and to find some sort of joy again, because I knew that by helping others, my heart would be full. And so I came into this purely as a catastrophic challenger for a discount and for some fun. And I never, ever, ever would have thought at that moment that I would be here right now. And that was only 2.5 years ago. So what I really want to talk to you guys today about is how in the world this happened. How did we end up number 5 to under 2.5 years later? And I really, truly think and believe wholeheartedly that it's because of things like team culture or team unity, and figuring out how in the world to somehow develop leaders. Going back to that literally my first 6 months, I kind of dissected that after my first full year when I had rank advanced 7 diamonds. And I didn't know that that was good. Everyone at the end of my first full year was like, how did you do that? And I was like, what are you talking about? There's 47 people that quit. 7 diamonds is good? I was naive and I didn't know. But I had to look at that and go, oh, so most people don't rank advanced 7 diamonds their first year in the business? So what happened? How did that happen? I don't know how that happened, it just happened. And so I went back and I looked really closely at what in the world happened. And I want to tell you exactly what it was. So when I came into this coaching thing, and I finally in month 3 decided to actually work a business, because I saw this ridiculously insane community led with heart and the opportunity. And I have a huge heart and I have a huge entrepreneurial, wheels always turning mind. And I saw that what I always wanted to do in my life, which was to create change in the world and help people, and why not make a really good income with that, was right in front of me. And so in month 3, I said yes to coaching. And because of this community, and because of personal development, really, I mean, nutrition and fitness are there, right? That's part of what we do. Literally, we get paid to work out and eat right. How amazing is this job? So that was happening. I was feeling physically good. But this right here, and personal development transformed who I am, and I love that Allie is shaking her head because you get it. In 1, 2, 3 months, I was a different human being. I was a different wife, I was a different mom, and I had a different family. And I will never forget the day my husband walked in the door from work at 5:30, and I had just decided to go all in. And he just walked in the office door, and I said, babe, I don't care if I never get paid a penny for doing this. I will do this every single second for the rest of my entire life because of who it is turning me into and the impact it's having on my family. And I hold true to that today, 150%. You could take everything away from me right now and I would just keep doing it. I would start over, I would build it all from scratch. And when you work this job because of who it makes you and the impact you have on other people, it's not a job. There's no quit. Scotty Hobbs said something on my team call this year, I loved it. He said, what is your IQ factor? Or what is your IQ? And I was like, I don't know. And he said, what is your I quit factor? And I won't ever quit. This is not a job. This is a calling. This is a purpose. This is greater than anything I could have ever dreamt up for myself. And so, I had this fire. I had this fire to desperately want to pass this on to every single person. Just this insatiable hunger to help people have this experience that I had. I was a mom. There were so many broken mamas out there that needed a tribe, that needed personal development, that needed to feel good about themselves, because when a woman feels good about herself, the whole freaking world changes. And guys too, I guess. And so that's what happened. When I say that first 6 months, that first year, I was just talking to everybody about it. They were coming into my challenge group and their lives were changing in week 1 and week 2 on these programs. I mean, one of my Star Diamond coaches swears, she said, on day 4 I woke up and everything was different. And she doesn't say that lightly, she says it with tears streaming down her face. And when you give people that experience, they want to pass it on. And so it was all heart. It was all heart. There was challenger after challenger having this life experience, wanting to pass it on. I was saying, oh my gosh, you need to do this with me. Let's do this together. Why don't you do this and I'll do this and you can do recipes and you can post transformations. It was purely organic and all heart. And so those first 5, 7 diamond coaches, you guys, this is the other thing I can tell you. They were so not, looking back, anyone that I ever would have thought would make a good Beachbody coach. Like my Star Diamond I was just telling you about, we love to do coach opportunity calls together because I'm like, I ran a cold pressed juice company and I owned a Pilates studio for 14 years, and she's like, I hate exercising and I like to eat junk food. Poor, like never would have thought she'd be a good Beachbody coach, right? So it has nothing to do with that. These people didn't have a market, they weren't connected, they didn't have a background, none of that. They had a transformation and they couldn't deny other people the same. And so we became this really closely knit family that were just working together all day, every day, texting each other back and forth. How can we make our challenge group better? Why don't we do prizes this week? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Hey, do you want to meet under the bridge and like go for a power walk with our challenge group? Why don't we meet for coffee on Wednesday and we'll like mastermind and we can think about this and talk about that? We became a team. And I will also tell you, when I was, a brand new coach in Charleston, South Carolina, no one else in that city was a coach. And I probably had the same exact self-limiting belief that a lot of you had. I just lived in San Diego where my coach lived, and she has this team and it's all fun and they hang out together. I could be successful with this. But I'm the only one here. The only coach in Charleston, South Carolina. So guess what I did? I built it. And you guys, I have such a freaking amazing, badass team culture in Charleston that anytime I sign up a coach that's not in Charleston, what do they say? Well, if I just lived in Charleston, I'm like, oh, don't go there. Build it. Make it happen. Do what I did. And it wasn't rocket science, you guys. I just said hey, let's meet for coffee. Hey, you wanna go to happy hour? Hey, you wanna come over? Hey, let's, it was just, because I had worked alone for so long, I just wanted to link arms and be with people. This is what I wanted. And then I was like, let's do a retreat thing that we see all those people doing. Let's do one of those, And it was just fun. And what happened was momentum builds momentum. And that is really important, and it's not something you can really necessarily make happen. But because we were so closely knit, what do you think when that first girl that hates exercising and loves junk food went diamond? These other girls were like, she just went diamond, I'm right behind her. And then 2 of them went diamond, and the third one said, I cannot go diamond. And then that's when I was like, let's do a diamond retreat. Oh, you wanna go on this retreat? You better go diamond. And so everyone started popping diamond. The other thing that I think is really important is you gotta ask yourself what your story is about all of this. So, because I was all alone, and I had no connections really to the coaching world besides my coach that was 3,000 miles away and some random person. When she told me to do, this is just funny for me to think about now because I didn't understand it at first. She told me to do X, Y, and Z, and so I did X, Y, and Z. I just did what she told me to do. And I was really confused after the first few months when everyone kept asking me, can you go live and talk about how you've accomplished this? How are you doing this? How did you do this? How did you do this? And I was I just did what you told me to do. That's all I did. I followed directions 100%. Now I finally understand, because I have a team, that most people follow directions maybe 30%. They do what they want to do, and they don't do the rest. You've got to embrace the suck is one of my favorite expressions. Micah Folsom, do your crap. You guys, you have to do the hard stuff. And the thing is, with this job, it's 3% of what we do. Just rip the Band-Aid off, and then you can do the fun stuff. So anyway, let me go back to this really quickly. So are you leading from the front? I was alone in Charleston. I was naive. I didn't know any better. My coach said go emerald, so I was like, okay, so I went emerald. She said go diamond. I was like, okay, so I went diamond. I didn't know it was hard. I had no clue that people took a year to get to diamond. I just did what she did, and I'll tell you what happened. I was so confused as a new coach, we all are, utterly confused, and whack-a-mole every day, and you wake up and you're just you don't know what you're doing. And somehow, because Barbie Kalev is my up line, I ended up in some Diamond Dash with Barbie. Because I had 18 groups you're in overnight, right? And I was totally confused. And I didn't know where I was supposed to be. But I remember Barbie having this 6-week diamond training. And I took out my agenda. I'm a paper and pen girl still to this day. And I counted 6 weeks out, and I circled the date, and I wrote diamond. And it wasn't hope I get diamond. I hope I'm one of the few still standing. I just thought 100% of the people that were participating in the diamond training went diamond because everybody did all the things. I didn't know what I know now. But what do you think happened when I had that belief, that non-negotiable, that 100% Just, this is what's gonna happen. I went diamond in 6 weeks. So what's your story when you talk to your coaches? When you get on a GSR call, are you saying, so this first rank that you're gonna really try to get to is called an emerald, and no, it's a lot, but it's like a coach on your right and a coach on your left? Or are you just saying, so you're gonna get to emerald this weekend, you just sign up your spouse and another person to get a discount on Shakeology and you'll be emerald on Monday? That's what we do. And then do you tell them, this is what you do to get to diamond? You guys, I 100% to the tips of my toes, do not feel like it's hard to get to diamond at all. And I will tell you, and I don't mean to, say this in a negative way, but one of my coaches this past year said to me, in a very arms crossed way, I think it really makes people really angry on the team that you're always like, it's so easy to get to diamond, it's so easy to get to diamond. And I was like, I didn't say it, but I wanted to say, so I think I've got like 16 of those diamonds and you don't have any. So I think the way that I'm, doing this is working. And every single one of my diamonds will say that. They'll say, I didn't know it was hard to get to diamond. Moira never said it was hard to get to diamond, so I just did it. I just got there in like 60 days. The longer it takes you, the longer it's gonna take you. This business is so much easier to build quickly than it is to build slowly, because momentum builds momentum. The other thing I want to talk about is, and I think this is important because it was my Super Saturday experience, that I was at my very first Super Saturday a little over 2 years ago. I had been in the business for 3 months, and I had hit Success Club 6 by the skin of my teeth. I thought it was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life. I thought I was talking to every single person I knew. But it was at that 3-month mark that I decided to go all in. That I decided to 100% go for the dream of being a top 10 coach, of earning a 6-figure income, of earning a 7-figure income. I wanted what those girls had. I wanted the team. I wanted the impact. I wanted to create the change. And I thought, why not me? And so I went to that first Super Saturday. And as I had those dreams, as so many of you guys probably have, right? But it's hard. It's still hard, and you feel like you're down here and you don't know how you're gonna get there. And it was Super Saturday, and it was Team Cup. We were talking about Team Cup. I didn't know what Team Cup was. And I saw in the video from corporate, a Canadian coach, of course, a Canadian coach that had won Team Cup, and she had hit Success Club 140 something, which meant she had brought in 70 people in a month, right? 70 plus. And what happened that day, in that moment, as I sat in that chair with probably 15 people in the room, because again, there were no coaches in Charleston, I just remember thinking, instead of negative, instead of judgment, instead of self-limiting beliefs, instead of all the stuff that we do, I thought instead, what in the world am I doing? Trying to help 3 people. 3 people is never gonna get me to my vision and my goals and my dreams. And if that is possible, if this chick, they screenshotted her back office, and that is the only reason I didn't think she was lying. Otherwise it would have been called, trying not to curse up here. I would have not believed it. I would have 100% thought she was lying. But there was a screenshot of her back office, and I was like, I guess it has to be true. This chick just brought in 30 or 73 people. And I think 3 is hard. That's pathetic. If that is possible, I'm doing something wrong. And so I raised my bar. Tony Robbins always says your destiny is shaped in your moments of decision, which happens in an instant. And in that moment, I decided to raise my bar and raise my standards. And when you ask yourself better questions, you get better answers. And my question instantly became, okay, I'm gonna bring in 50 people into my challenge group this month. Team Cup, I'm going for it, I wanna win, I like to win things, competitive. So I'm gonna bring in 50 people to my challenge group. How am I gonna do that? It shifted from me asking my neighbor for the 10th time, trying to talk my best friend into it, and trying to sign my mom up on Shakeology to get my 3 people. It was like I took the blinders off. All of a sudden, it was 50 freaking people. 3 to 50. And so things started to shift differently, and this is one of the biggest things I can tell you. You have to care more about other people than you do about your ego. You have to care more about other people than you do, quite frankly, about yourself. Because people will judge you, people will say things, and you just gotta get over it. You have to get over it. I remember in the beginning thinking it was a very, very clear-cut jumping off place for me because no one was ever gonna know that I was a Beachbody coach when I signed up. Never, ever, 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 ever. It was like I was in the closet, never gonna come out. And I finally got to the point, I mean, it was literally like devil and angel on my shoulders for 3 months. Struggling between, am I gonna go for my dreams and take a chance at impacting the world, at creating change, at having this tribe of women to create financial freedom for my family, to transform my marriage, to be a happy mom? Am I gonna leap off the cliff and go for it? Or am I just gonna stay wrapped up in fear of what you think of me? And I had to get to that jumping off place, and thank God I finally did. And I cared more about giving you the experience that I had of transforming inside and out than caring what my neighbor in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina think of me. And there are some judgmental people there. It's the South. So, and then my whole world changed, right? My whole world changed. So you've got to lead from the front, you guys. It wasn't until in that moment, in that month, Team Cup month, I think I hit Success Club 40. So I went from hitting Success Club 6 by the skin of my teeth. I'll never forget, it was 10:45 p.m. on the 31st of the 3rd month to hit Success Starters. I went from Success Club 6 to Success Club 40 and 50 every month since. What changed was this. You have to change what's going on in your mind. I was like Tony Robbins out the 3 days I was stuck in the airport, so there might be lots of Tony Robbins quotes coming now. But Tony Robbins says it's 80% psychology, 20% strategy. So you've got to shift what's going on in your head more than anything else. So let me see what's happening here.